Okay, next let's look at the duties of each layer. Okay, the first one we start with physical layer. So the physical layer is responsible for transmitting individual bits from one node to the next. Okay, so three basic responsibilities of uh, physical layer. First, representation of bits. Okay, the physical layer data consists of a stream of bits, sequence of zeros and ones without any interpretation. To be transmitted, bits must be encoded into signals. The physical layer defines the type of representation, how zeros and ones are changed to signals. Okay, salah satu fungsi physical layer ni adalah untuk represent bit. Okay, dari digital kepada signal. Okay, yang ni akan kita belajar chapter 2 nanti. So for the time being, you just have to know one of the duties of physical layer adalah menukarkan sequence of zeros and one, okay, kepada signal, encoded as signal. Okay, next one is data rate, the transmission rate. Data rate means the transmission rate, means the number of bits sent each second is also defined by the physical layer. Okay, physical layer ni akan menentukan berapa bits yang dihantar dalam masa satu saat. Ini lebih kepada kelajuan. Okay, speed of the transmission. Okay, the next one is synchronization of bits. Okay, what does it mean by synchronization of bits? The sender and the receiver not only must use the same bit rate, but also must be synchronized at the bit level. Okay, bukan sahaja sender dengan receiver mesti berada pada bit rate yang sama. If you still remember, I have mentioned in chapter 1 what happened if sender can transmit at 100 megabit per second, but the receiver can only receive at 1 megabit per second. If we continue transmitting at different speed like that, the data would be lost. Okay, because the receiver cannot process the data at a very high speed. So in other words, bukan sahaja sender dengan receiver must use the same bit rate, but also they must be synchronized. Synchronized maksudnya when the sender is sending something, the receiver must be ready, okay, to receive. Okay, so 3 types of duties of physical layer. Okay, next we move to data link layer. Okay, one of the keyword of physical layer is transmitting individual bits from one node to the next. Bila jumpa perkataan one node, node adalah satu term yang digunakan untuk physical layer. Okay, you can compare when we talk about data link layer. Okay, the data link layer is responsible for transmitting frames from one node to the next. Okay, for data link layer, dia akan sebut the keyword is frames. Okay. Okay, what is frame actually? Okay, let's try to see the duties of data link layer. We also have this one, 1, 2, 3. We have 5 main duties of data link layer. Okay, the first one is framing. Okay, that's why the data is known as frames at data link layer. Framing means the data link layer divides the stream of bits received from the network layer into manageable data unit called frames. Okay, maksudnya data yang diterima daripada network layer akan dipecahkan ke dalam bentuk yang dikenali sebagai frame. Okay. Stream of bits tu yang daripada bentuk digital 1001 semua tu dia akan pecahkan, divide to a few frames. Okay. Then another one that is framing. Then physical addressing. Physical addressing means data link layer adds a header to the frame to define the sender and or receiver of the frame. Okay. If the frame is intended for a system outside the sender's network, the receiver address is the address of the connecting device that connects the network to the next one. Okay. Ini adalah salah satu fungsi data link layer, physical addressing. Physical addressing ni maksudnya dia akan add header. Fungsi header tu adalah sebenarnya to attach the address of the sender and receiver of the data. Okay, samalah macam kita hantar surat, kita akan tulis nama penerima di depan dan juga nama penghantar. Sometimes setengah orang dia akan tulis nama pengirim di belakang surat tu. Okay. Jadi dalam datacom, tugas itu diambil oleh data link layer yang mana dia akan attach header yang dalam header tu ada sender dan receivers address. Okay, supaya apa? Supaya data tu tahu dia harus ke mana, ke device mana, masuk ke device mana. Okay. Okay, I want to explain this part. If the frame is intended for a system outside the sender's network, the receiver address is the address of the connecting device that connects the network to the next one. Okay, let me explain this part first. Okay, apa maksudnya? Okay, let's say now I have two LAN. Okay, LAN 1 and then LAN 2. I have two local area networks here. Okay, then inside, let's say I have bus topology. Okay, let's say I have bus topology 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay. So let's say this is A. Just put name here. A, B, C, and D. Okay, then here, let's say I use star topology. Okay, can be any topology. Okay, let's say this is E. This is F. This is G. Okay, then these two local area network is connected together by a router. Okay, let's say now A. Okay, this computer is sending to D. Okay, if A is sending to D, okay, the sender's address, okay, A to D. Okay, let's say case 1. Case 1, A is sending data to D. So sender, okay, the data link layer will add header stating that the sender is A, receiver is B. Okay. But if let's say case 2, let's say B is sending data to G, for example. So they are in different networks. Okay, B is in LAN 1, G is in LAN 2. So what happened? They have to go through the router. Okay, from this router, so I put the name as R1. Okay, then from R1 goes to LAN 2. So in this case, if sender and receiver are not in the same network, the sender's address will be B, but the receiver's address in the header included by data link layer will be R1. Okay, so that's what this paragraph means. If the frame is intended for a system outside the sender's network, the receiver address is the address of the connecting device that connect the network to the next one. Okay, the third duty of data link layer is access control. Okay, when two or more devices are connected to the same link. Okay, recall back what have we learned in chapter 1. In chapter 1, we have seen point-to-point and multi-point connection. So for multi-point connection, when a link is shared by two or more devices, by more than two devices, okay, the data link layer protocol are responsible and necessary to determine which device has control over the link at any given time. Okay, bila berlakunya perkongsian lebih daripada dua device pada satu link, multi-point, bila kita menggunakan multi-point, then there is another responsibility of data link layer to control the access. Maksudnya device mana yang ada access pada link pada satu-satu masa, pada link tersebut pada satu-satu masa untuk mengelakkan competition antara device. Okay, next is flow control. Okay, next duty of data link layer is flow control. Okay, what is flow control? If the rate at which the data are absorbed by the receiver is less than the rate produced in the sender, the data link layer impose flow control mechanism to prevent overwhelming the receiver. Okay, if you still remember, saya ada sebut, I have mentioned in chapter 1, if the sender support 100 megabit per second, the receiver can only process at 1 megabit per second. So, how to slow down the sender? So, it is the duty of data link layer to impose the flow control at the sender side. Maksudnya, ada mekanisme tertentu yang akan dilakukan oleh data link layer untuk slow down the sender so that the receiver can cope with the speed. Okay. Next one is error control. Okay, the last duty of data link layer is error control. So the data link layer adds reliability to the physical layer by adding mechanism to detect and retransmit damage or lost frame. So katalah kalau ada data yang rosak ataupun hilang dalam perjalanan, okay, that is the duty of data link layer to detect and retransmit balik. Maksudnya untuk detect ada error, dah berlaku error, data tu rosak, perlu retransmit. Okay, that is the duty of data link layer. It also use mechanism to prevent duplication of frame. So error control, how does error control implemented in data link layer? Okay, we can see through a trailer added to the end of the frame. Sebab tu kita tengok dalam figure tadi. Okay. Di data link layer kita akan ada, okay, refer back to this figure. Okay. As you can see, we have T2 at layer 2 at data link layer. Okay, fungsi trailer ni adalah untuk detection of error and retransmission mechanism.